Hi guys, welcome to another video. Hope you're all keeping well. If you watched my previous video, you will recall I talked about my all-time favourite horror anthology movie, which was of course Tales from the Crypt. Now, in this video, I'd like to talk about my second all-time favourite horror anthology movie, again made by the fantastic British studio Amicus, whose name is synonymous with making horror anthology movies, especially in the 70s, the early 70s. And the movie I'd like to talk about here is The House That Dripped Blood. Yeah, as I say, next to Tales from the Crypt, yeah, this is my second all-time favourite horror anthology movie. Again, all great stories, all great performances, a stellar cast. As you can see there, Ingrid Piss, John Pertwee, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, yeah. Again, just like Tales from the Crypt, got fond memories of, when I first watched this as a youngster, in the early 70s on my parents' old black and white TV, and of course when it was shown again when we got our colour set in 1975, and this came on. Wow, was I blown away again? Yeah. Okay, so I'll just get this is a fantastic edition, by the way, by Second Sight Entertainment, yeah, and got the poster there, guys, at the back. The House of Drip Blood, yeah. So without further ado, I'll just open this up and just talk a little bit more about the movie, yeah. So you've got a great booklet there, by the way, guys, yeah. And there's your Blu-ray, yeah. So I'll just briefly touch on the stories and that, in this fantastic movie, yeah. All great stories, all fine, as I say, stellar cast and that, yeah. Right up there with Tales from the Crypt, yeah. So there's Peter Cushing there, the Waxwork story. Yeah, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 5 stories again in this one, guys. Yeah. So you've got the first story is Method for Murder, which stars Denholm Elliott. Now, in this story, I mean, I don't want to go into too much about them, just in case you haven't seen it yet. But I'll just touch on them just to give you an idea. Yeah. So basically, in this one, Denholm Elliott, he plays like this horror writer, and he's created this serial killer. And he's writing about him in this house in the country and that, and the lovely Joanna Dunham, she plays his wife and that, and he starts to think that this character becomes real and that, this serial killer, what he's created, because for instance, he's typing there one night and he sees the figure in his reflection and they're standing on top of the stairs and that, oh, he's really creepy, he's standing there and that, he's getting a real malevolent look and that, yeah, and he starts to think, am I losing my mind, is he really becoming real? And in one particular scene, he's in bed with his wife, and he goes to strangle her, and his wife thinks he's losing his mind and that, but he said, like, I don't know, basically I don't know, he's at a loss to explain it, so he thinks he's getting possessed by this serial killer he's created called I think he's called Barnabas, if memory serves me correctly, yeah. But yeah, so so that's the first story, Denholm Elliott, the horror writer and that, but yeah, got a great twist in it like the others have and that, yeah. So that's the first story, and that is called Method for Murder. And the second story is called Waxworks. Now that basically that stars Peter Cushing as this guy, like he goes to live in the country now, in this house and that, and he keeps getting drawn to this wax museum and that, in the village and that, in the town centre. And he keeps going there, and it's this sort of like statue of, I think it's Salome, and you've got like the weird proprietor of the wax museum. He comes behind him and that, and he said, very pretty, isn't she, and that, yeah. And so it's basically it revolves around Peter Cushing and he going back to this wax museum and that, yeah. And it starts to get really spooky, yeah. But I don't want to go on too much about that, yeah. But suffice to say, yeah, Peter Cushing again really on the money in this one and that, yeah. This is a great booklet, this, guys, it really is, yeah. I love it when you give the booklets with the movies and that, it tells you a little bit about the episodes and that, yeah. Fantastic, yeah. Robert Bloch again, he was responsible, for the stories in this and that, fine writer Robert Bloch, wrote many short stories, most famous of course for his novel Psycho, yeah. But Robert Bloch, yeah, some of his stories when Amicus used them and that, they really put them to full effect in that, yeah. But getting back to the stories in this, so the one I've just talked about is called Method for Murder, Peter Cushing. Now, the third story, what can I say about this one? I think this is my favourite one of all of them. Sweets to the Sweet, starring Christopher Lee. You know, he plays a sort of like, you know, sort of like horsey guy who takes on the house and that. Everybody that takes on this house, by the way, something happens to them and that, you know, something weird, horrific, supernatural. And in this story, Sweet to the Sweet, Christopher Lee, he plays this horsey guy and that, you know, and he's got this little girl and that, you know, and he's very, very sort of like, he's a little bit overprotective of her and that, you know, and he hires this like nanny to sort of look after the little girl and that, you know, but whenever the nanny broaches the subject about, like, you know, he should be a little bit more sort of like bit more responsible, like with the little girl and that, not to be so restrictive and that, you know, yeah, he gets very, very short with her and that, you know, yeah, but there's some sort of dark secrets and that, you know, in regards to the little girl's mother. And there's suggestions that the little girl's mother could have been a witch, yeah. But I don't want to go on too much about it. I'll let you see, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you like sort of like stories dealing with witchcraft and creepy kids and a little bit of voodoo thrown in, you know, I think you like Sweet to the Sweet. Christopher Lee, of course, he's on the money in every role, really, especially Dracula. But he's great in this one, yeah. So that's Sweet to the Sweet, yeah. And then you've got the story starring John Pertwee, the final story, The Cloak, yeah. There's basically John Pertwee. He plays this sort of like a very horsey, arrogance, you know, horror actor. You know, he's very, very short with the crew and that, you know, and he's very, very full of himself and that, you know. And he buys this cloak from this creepy dealer and that, you know, and it's actually a real vampire cloak. So that when Ingrid Pitt plays a sort of like his female love interest and that, you know, so he take the house on and that. When they don the cloak, you know, Ingrid Pitt dons it. She floats up in the air and sprouts vampire, you know, fangs. And then John Pertwee, he sprouts the cloak and that. And of course, all hell breaks loose there and that. You know, I don't want to go on too much about it in case in case you haven't seen it. But I liked a little bit of humour in this one as well. And that, you know, it's sort of like it doesn't really take itself. It's quite creepy in parts, but it doesn't really take itself too seriously. And that, you know, there's Ingrid Pitt there, yeah. You know, this sprouting a vampire teeth and that, yeah, very enjoyable episode, The Cloak, yeah, just like all the others and that. I like a little bit of humour thrown in and that, you know, yeah. And John Pertwee, yeah, God rest his soul, yeah, another great fine actor, played Doctor Who great and that, you know, yeah. So yeah, and I like the framing story as well, which stars John Bennett. You know, he plays the police detective who's investigating the mysterious disappearances in the house and that, you know, and he's very, very dismissive, you know, when any suggestion of supernatural occurrences, anything paranormal might possibly be behind the people's disappearances. He's very, he's very skeptical in that, yeah, until, well, he goes to the house himself at the end of it. I don't want to reveal what happens, but, you know, suffice to say, like, this movie ends with a bang and that, you know, yeah. Very fine actor, John Bennett, yeah. I remember watching him in that series in the 60s, something about a Marcus and that, you know, yeah. It wasn't on very long and that. That was Honey Lane, something like that. Yeah, most probably, you know, people, you most probably remember that series and that, yeah. He was in that one, yeah. I say very fine actor, yeah. And he's really on the money playing this police detective who scoffs at the supernatural and that, you know, very dismissive and that, you know. But yeah, the worst thing he could have possibly done was to go to the house on his own. Yeah, but again, I don't want to go on too much about it. I'll let you see the movie for yourself if you haven't seen it, yeah. So all in all, guys, yeah, The House of Drip Blood, yeah, there's a great photo of Ingrid Pitt there and dressed as the vampire. The House of Drip Blood, my second favourite, John Pertwee with his cloak. My second favourite horror anthology movie, after Tales from the Crypt, yeah. I say watch this movie many times and that, yeah, and thoroughly enjoy it. Like, and there's Joanna Dunham, the wife of the Den O'Malley character, the horror writer, and there's the serial killer he keeps seeing, or thinks he keeps seeing, in the house, yeah. So all in all, guys, yeah, The House of Drip Blood, fantastic horror anthology movie, yeah, and this is a great release by Second Sight, yeah. And I say especially with the Christopher Lee story and that, you know, where he has the little girl and that, you know, and very, very creepy and that, you know, yeah. So yeah, like Tales from the Crypt, yeah, got such a high rewatchability factor. The House of Drip Blood, yeah, made in 1971, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, from Milton Subotsky studio, Amicus, yeah. Well, they knew how to make a horror anthology movie. They really did, yeah. And some of these ones that's making them now, you need to take a leaf out of Amicus's book in terms of how to make a good horror anthology movie, yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. So that's about winds this video up for now. Yeah. So there you go. That's my second favourite all-time horror anthology movie after Tales from the Crypt. That is The House That Dripped Blood. Yeah. And if you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend that you go out and get yourself a copy. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, such a high rewatchability factor. Very entertaining movie, and I love it when you show each character that takes the house over, you know, and you don't know what's going to happen to them, and that, you know, oh, it's very, very gripping movie. Yeah, all stories are fantastic. Yeah, very, very atmospheric and that, you know. Yeah, yeah. Okay, guys, have you seen The House That Dripped Blood? Leave your comments down below. Have you got a favourite story? Do you like all the stories, you know, the same? Yeah, yeah. Talk for hours about horror anthology movies, guys. Yeah, and this is one of the best. The House That Dripped Blood. Yeah, yeah. Okay, guys, yeah. So hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to share, subscribe, comment, and I hope you all have a nice weekend. Stay safe, yeah. And yeah, I'll talk to you again in the next video. Cheers, guys.